Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of X Malice along Aiji Yanagi's route. We finally had a breakthrough with Yanagi, and we finally got the story on that event, that incident that Yoshino was involved in as a kid. I'd like to hear a few more details, because I had the feeling that, yeah, that guy's not dead for one, and that there was a little bit more to Yanagi protecting her there and rescuing her. Well anyway, at the moment we finally got back to Ray here. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story.
Did something happen? Shouldn't I be asking you that? You are letting Zero commit a lot of violence. I don't think there's any controlling Zero now. This isn't the future that you actually wished for. Why are you so concerned about it? This is unlike you, number 14. Well, I've known you for a long time, and I've been out in the world for quite a while. It's a good chance to learn about emotion. You, who should be a doll, speak of emotion. Is this in regards to Aiji Yanagi and his friends? And that too, but I was more referring to you. Me. The ideals of the Adonis I know don't involve indiscriminate murder. You personally wanted certain ideals realized, yet do you plan to just silently overlook Adonis becoming more and more warped? Or are you really fine with this perversion of your justice? And
now we've begun chapter 5. Maybe I should have included those couple lines in the last episode. Oh well, too late now. So now it's going to become a power struggle between Ray and Zero, December 16th. Good morning.
Hey, morning. Did things get really bad yesterday?
Yes, I was stuck at work the entire night. Stuck in debriefings, writing apology notes. Apology notes? It was the day after the hostage matter. I had the morning off today, so I'd stopped by the office to check in. I had to work all night long, so Mochida had been kind enough to give me the morning off. Yesterday was really tough. I thought the stress at the scene was intense, but once I got to the station, it continued. There's no way they won't try to figure out why I was even there in the first place. Did I misunderstand things before? I could have sworn Morioka... Did Morioka actually tell Yanagi to report to him later? And Yanagi said he would, but why would Yanagi report to Morioka if he wasn't working for the police anymore? Unless it's a favor? Why didn't Ichika question him on that? I definitely would have right away. At Investigations HQ, they grilled me hard. I'm surprised I managed to survive it.
They probably suspect you, don't they?
Yes, but I made the excuse that I'd been patrolling a likely target area, even though I hadn't seen the Adonis statement.
Nice.
It worked somehow, though I don't think Morioka and Minagishi were completely sold on it.
Of course not. HQ isn't made up entirely of morons.
Only half, right? I know, right?
But Yanagi was there too.
I just kept repeating it no matter how many times and ways they asked, so I think I'm clear for now.
I see. Stubbornness wins the day.
It's true, but why do I get the feeling you're not exactly complimenting me?
Hoshino, you're here already.
Good morning, Yanagi. Just when I was puzzled by that comment, Yanagi returned to the office.
Sorry for making you wait when I called you here.
Don't worry about it. As Yanagi said, the reason I'd stopped by the office this morning is because he'd texted me, asking me to meet here. I had the feeling I knew what it would be about. Yanagi's past, which I learned of yesterday. We'd probably discuss the details. I really wanted to know more about him now. Me too!
Enomoto, Sasazaka. Sorry, but can we have some privacy for a bit? Sure, got it, boss. Damn it, just when it gets freaking cold outside.
Watching Enomoto and Sasazaka leave, I sat down on the sofa. It's okay. Yanagi also took a seat right next to me. Maybe I felt oddly anxious and self-conscious because he usually sat across from me.
The people who put the collar on you seem to have thoroughly researched my past.
Huh?
They know about crimes I committed as a juvenile, not just the incident that you were part of. There's little doubt that they know about my time with the police.
What do you mean?
When I was still employed, there was a suspect armed with a knife who took a hostage to use as a human shield. I'd arrived on the scene quickly that day, and I was ordered to negotiate with the suspect. I didn't know the personal circumstances of either criminal or hostage, but I devised a way to save them both. But then, the order came over the radio. I was to take the suspect out. Still, I persisted with my negotiations. The suspect had gone this far, so I figured there had to be a reason. I didn't want to take a life without knowing why, or even trying to know why. But the suspect got impatient and violent, so the special assault team on site converged on him. In the end, the suspect was killed.
That sounds somewhat like yesterday's incident.
Yeah, yesterday felt as if it was supposed to be a reenactment of that past incident.
Yanagi was staring off into the distance. Little by little, he began to tell the story of his past.
Yanagi, do you understand exactly what you've done? I ignored orders. That, and you put lives at risk. If the SAT team had arrived even a moment later, the hostage could have died. HQ gave you the order to engage earlier. Why did you hesitate? Your training dictates that you should have put the hostage's life above everything else. You should know better. I know that lives take priority, but is that really limited only to the life of the victim? What? Is a life more disposable simply because it belongs to a criminal? I don't know. I end up thinking about what the suspect might be feeling as he died. Yanagi, not all lives are equal. Depending on the situation, some take priority. Ignore that, and you could sentence innocent people to their deaths. I know that. At least, I know that in my head. But my feelings reject that notion. I don't want to understand it. And if I can't draw that line, then I can't serve as a member of the police. That was when I made that realization. Crimes are evil. Assailants are evil. But if that's really true, if it's right to kill people who commit crimes, then why am I still alive? While I still had yet to find a satisfactory answer, the X-Day incidents began this year. Early on, I had intuited the motive of the X-Day incidents was vengeance. Past victims had crafted a plan to enact retribution against their former tormentors. These were the monthly X-Day crimes. Regardless of what happened in the past, revenge was no reason to take a life. Criminals must be judged by the law. These ghastly revenge crimes can't be overlooked. But at the same time, I wanted to know more about the criminals. Would they feel catharsis once they exacted revenge? Wouldn't it just wound them more deeply? I considered a number of things like this, until I eventually came to a conclusion. If I started considering criminal circumstances, there'd be no end. That wasn't a detective's job. Then, the August incident happened. Superintendent General, issue this policy to all investigators. Due to the serious and unprecedented nature of these crimes, special measures have been enacted. Any criminal caught while performing an act related to X-Day is to be shot on sight. This may endanger the lives of victims. How do you plan to deal with this increased risk? These incidents are considered special cases. Even if the victims are at risk, officers are to shoot without hesitation. Hesitation could just create more victims, and if this spread, it will be problematic. This is for the greater good. So, the brass is panicking at the loss of public trust in the police, eh? Shiraishi, do you think this was done for personal amusement? I highly doubt it. This wasn't indiscriminate murder either. The victims all played an online game. I knew it. They think they're justified. These are crimes based on faith, I guess. Probably. Then, for both the victims and assailants, I have to stop this. And with these new directives, I can't do that and stay in the police. Then, in late August, shortly before the Shinjuku quarantine went into effect, I submitted my resignation. I hate to admit it, but it's all just words. You could call it idiotic naivety. The person on the collar said this too. It's difficult to stop all crime. For the same reason, it's also impossible to eliminate all victims. Still, even if it was just to satisfy my own ego, I couldn't draw that line in the sand.
Yanagi. His past experiences were much heavier than I'd expected. But what's important is that he hasn't given up on his wish. Even if they were just lofty ideals, I wanted to follow his dreams. I wanted to realize them. I was still a cop, but I shared his desire to help all suffering people.
The big thing is, I think I've gotten over it a bit thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
Yeah.
Yanagi muttered, seeming a bit more cheerful than he was earlier.
If I can't back up my lofty rhetoric with actions, then they're meaningless. A nice fairy tale with no real impact. If I want to protect everything, I need to have the courage to fire when I have to protect people. If I avert my eyes when action is needed, then I'm just running from responsibility. That isn't justice or protection. I knew that, yet I'd always been held back by my past. But when it counted, you trusted me. You helped me move on. You finally lifted the curse of my past. Thank you.
Why are you thanking me? You did all that with your own power. Yanagi had acknowledged me. He was giving me credit for helping him. I wasn't just a burden or someone who just needed to be protected. That was enough to make me happy. There was nothing that could make me happier. The reason I was able to put my trust in you was you. Because of how he acted before, I felt that I could trust him yesterday. No matter what the result would have been, I felt like I wouldn't regret that decision. If I was able to support you, it's only because you gave me the strength to do it. I declared that with complete sincerity, and Yanagi's gaze wavered.
You're far stronger than you look. Aren't you afraid of me?
Why? Why would I be afraid of you now? Afraid? I wasn't sure exactly what he meant at first. Thinking back to yesterday's events, I realized what he might be referencing. Does he mean the incident that happened when I was little? It was my first encounter with Yanagi, a past that burdened him ever since. It had to be the reason that Yanagi sometimes felt distant to me. Obviously, I'm not scared. Why in the world would I lie at this point? I'm not scared. It's true that I was at the time, but the monster that appeared in my dreams was Yanagi. Yanagi had been trying to save me. He was a student, but he picked up a weapon and charged into a fight to rescue a child he didn't even know. I'm sure the memory was scary for him too. That dream doesn't scare me anymore. After all, you're in it.
I see.
Yanagi faintly smiled. It looked like I had soothed his worries.
I'm still scared.
Yanagi.
I can't forget it. The way I lost my mind. The feeling of the pipe in my hand. The smell of blood. And your terrified eyes. I never want to feel that way again.
I felt like I had reclaimed my memories. The incident I was involved in 12 years ago now felt crystal clear. Now we get the whole story, I guess. I had just finished elementary school. My parents had to take care of some family business, so they brought me to Tokyo. The adults were talking about grown-up things, so I was playing nearby. I now realized it was Shinjuku Garden. So like all the locations were chose aptly.
Be quiet.
A stranger had grabbed my arm. He covered my mouth so I couldn't scream. Somebody help!
Huh?
I made eye contact with a passing boy. He was young, around high school age. I immediately lost sight of him, though.
Behave, you hear me? The hostage is still safe, but if I don't get the ransom I asked for...
Ransom? He took me to a building and bound me with chains so that I couldn't move. After he finished tying me up, it seemed like the kidnapper was talking on the phone.
If this works, I can finally escape from the prison of debt. I can finally live a normal life.
It was a ransom kidnapping, so that was his goal. At the time, I was too young to understand that. I'm scared. All I could do was shiver in terror. I couldn't imagine what would happen to me. Somebody, help me, please! I constantly repeated that wish in my heart. I turned away so that I couldn't see the pacing kidnapper. Then, I realized he was here.
Are you hurt? Don't worry, it'll be okay.
The boy I'd made eye contact with earlier had snuck into the building.
I'm going to rescue you.
The boy gripped a metal pipe tightly and charged forward at the man who had just finished his phone call.
Yo! Who the hell are you? Let the kid go, man, or you're in for a world of hurt. Why should I? I'm finally going to have some money. I'm going to be finished if this doesn't work out. Who the hell cares? You kidnapped a little girl, and you're trying to sell her? That's screwed up, man. You little crap. Ugh.
But the boy who had come to save me had the tables turned on him.
What the hell? You're so weak. You think you're some kind of badass. You think you're strong enough to take me on, you little punk.
Then he beat us with a single-minded focus. Us or him. Both me and the boy. Ugh. My memories of this part were vague. I recall being hit in the back of the head, so it was probably because of that. The boy who had come to rescue me had also been captured. He was beaten to a pulp. I remembered that. Damn.
Finally! The man laughed maniacally. Hey, you okay? The girl was overwhelmed by the beating. Maybe she was unconscious. It's all my fault. I failed, and the kidnapper got the advantage. Until I showed up, he hadn't hit or kicked the girl. She got hurt even worse because of me. She's so tiny. The man was insane. He glared at the little girl. Hey, I'm calling your parents, so make sure you cry and beg for your life. Hey, where are you sleeping? Don't ignore me. Stop it! Just hit me instead. You think you're a big man beating up a kid? Huh? You don't get to talk to my face, pug. You want me to show you some mercy? Then cry. Beg. He hit me in the head, and I went dizzy. I was nauseous. My whole body felt like lead. We could die here. Both the girl and I were going to be killed. I knew that's how this would end. The man seemed satisfied now. He walked away from us to make another phone call. I started moving my chained hands without him noticing. It wasn't rope, so it didn't fully restrict my movement. I struggled to pull my wrists from the chain, loosening them a little bit at a time. Then, the chain finally fell off. I have to kill him. Damn you! What? How'd you get free? I have to kill him right now.
Back to Ichigo's side of it.
Stop! Stop it! Please, stop!
Yeah, you really can't blame him at that point because he knows the guy's stronger than him. When I finally came to, I awoke to a gruesome sight.
I'm begging you, help me!
Blood. Red.
Forgive me!
Who?
No more! Please!
I do not blame him at all. I'm scared. Holy crap, that is a lot of hits. The man's cries were punctuated by thumps. It went on for a while. The voice stopped? The cries had stopped, and the thumps had also stopped. Everything was quiet again. A shadow approached me and released me from the chains that bound my body. Back then, I had no idea what was going on. In my foggy state of consciousness, I was frozen in abject terror. Oh, poor Yanagi. And Ichika too, but oh man, he's a mess.
You're going to be okay. The scary man is gone now.
The boy smiled. He held his hand out to me.
I'm sure you were scared. You must be hurting. I'm sorry. I couldn't protect you. I'll take you back to your family. You don't need to be scared anymore, okay?
Despite his words, all I could feel was fear. I didn't know that the boy had come to help me.
Are you afraid of me?
Oh. He looked at me with a sad expression. I clumsily nodded.
Oh.
The boy's voice cracked.
With these hands,
Watching the boy mutter with a twisted, confused look, I passed out again. The next time I woke up, I was with my parents in Kazuki. The boy was nowhere to be found.
Back then, I realized exactly what I'd done when I asked you if you were scared of me, and you nodded. I killed a man. I realized that it wasn't the man who had scared and hurt this poor girl, but me.
God damn it, Yanagi, that's so not true.
I'd done something I could never take back. I felt horribly guilty. It turns out I didn't kill him. He was in critical condition and barely survived.
I see. In that case, I'm glad for that at least. Yanagi hadn't taken a life. That would ease the burden of his guilt somewhat. I was more concerned about Yanagi than I was about the fact that he killed before.
However, he's still stuck in a coma. He can't move or talk.
Well, actually, he's just paralyzed, really, right? They say he's conscious, so if he's conscious, he's not in a coma.
I may as well have killed him. He's lost his life and his freedom.
Yanagi.
I was acquitted for the act because I was a minor, and because it was ruled as an act of self-defense. I was never interrogated by the police, and I was never placed on probation. I just returned to my carefree normal life. But I could never really go back. I was painfully aware that my old normal was no longer my reality. No matter what I did, the guilt suffocated me. Was I really allowed to keep living? I'd taken a man's life from him. Racked with guilt, I graduated high school. I think that was when a man introduced himself to me and said he was from the police HQ.
Huh?
He was from the Juvenile Affairs Department. When I thought I had no future, he told me this. You'll always be weighed down by your sins, but if you want to atone for that guilt, we'll give you the chance. You'll save people instead of hurting them. Would you like to become a police officer?
That's why you joined the police?
Yeah, it was part of a pilot program. I think it was under Juvenile Affairs. I accepted his offer. I entered the police academy, studied, trained, and was formally inducted as an officer. My superiors recommended I get detective training, and in unprecedented time, I made Section 1. Maybe it was thanks to the rehab program.
Yanagi's expression was dark as he recounted his history. There was nothing I could say either. I didn't know what words to say. I searched my heart, and I voiced a thought that floated up. But I was relieved.
Relieved?
Yanagi wore a dubious expression on his face. I thought it was an abrupt thought too, but I wanted him to know something. The night when I had this collar put on me, when I saw your face the night you came to help me, I felt relieved for some reason. When you told me everything would be okay, I wanted to trust you, without knowing why. I just felt you were someone I could trust. Maybe all I had left of my childhood memory was the part that made the strongest impression on me. You should know, I'd never forgotten that I was saved by somebody. In my heart, I'd always known that. His face and his voice had been stained with fear, and yet... Then and now, you're the one who saved me. I've always been grateful. And now, I want to become someone who can help you out. I was entranced by Yanagi's gentle character, the way he never gave up on his ideals. So, it made me really sad when you told me to stay away from you. I want to be closer to you. Did you push me away because you felt like there was an unsettled debt between us?
Yeah.
Then, I beg you, please, just forget all about that. You don't owe me anything. In fact, I owe you because you saved my life. Don't constrain yourself because of me. I don't want you to be tied down by the past. That guy could have killed me after all. That guy could have killed both of us. Right now, I want to solve the problems that are before us with you. I don't want to be your partner only in name. I want to be closer to you. I want to know you better. I knew I was being needy and embarrassing right now, but I couldn't help myself. And I'm surprised he is totally not reacting facially at all to this whole conversation, to my whole soul pouring. I wanted to say it so badly. I wanted him to know my true feelings.
I see.
Is that all you have to say? Yanagi's eyes had gone wide with surprise, but he nodded ever so slightly. His gaze softened.
What have you been thinking as you've gone through life all this time? What makes you happy? No matter how small it is, I want to know it. I want to know you better too. I want to view you not as the girl I hurt in the past, but as Ichika Hoshino, the woman I see today. I don't want to see you with that sad look on your face ever again.
Then start making me happy. Yanagi. Yanagi's words warmed my chest. I felt like I could finally stand by his side. And when someone has a wish granted, it can make them want to wish for something else. So, you think that because I'm your work partner?
What do you mean?
I already know that. What I'm saying is, that's not enough. I want to be special to you. I don't want to just be your work partner. Yay! Wow, actually saying that in a fairly reasonable amount of time. Saying it straight out. No letting there be misunderstandings.
Hoshino.
Yanagi was flustered. But now was the time to say it. Now that I knew that he had been holding back because of the past, now was the time. If you didn't happen to be at that place 12 years ago, I might not even be alive today. If you hadn't come to save me last month, I could have died when the collar snapped around my neck. You may have sinned in the past, but to me, you're truly someone special. I owe you my life.
So that's why.
Well, it's not the only reason why. Huh? Yanagi had been quiet while listening to my earnest feelings and smiled in self-derision. Oh, don't get the wrong idea.
I'm sure of it now that I've heard that. This is how Adonis operates. I don't believe Adonis's actions are just, but for some odd reason, I just can't seem to write them off as evil.
I realized it for the first time. Just as I couldn't condemn Yanagi, it was a common theme among the people who became Adonis's pawns, including Akito.
For example, Rika Sugawara was arrested as the perpetrator for the burning death on the 8th. She was a stalking victim. That's probably why she was lured in by Adonis.
So she could take matters into her own hands before she became a victim again?
Exactly. The man who was killed was her old stalker. She must have thought that the police and the law couldn't protect her from him. For someone like that, Adonis must feel like a savior, appearing just in time to release her from her fears. In the July incident, Tomoki Ogata, who's still in detention, acted on her behalf.
Yes, Ogata was confirmed to be innocent, so he's supposed to be released today. In other words, he had acted in self-defense. Ogata had been mistakenly arrested in the past.
In May, Hanako Kobayashi took revenge on behalf of Ogata. That's how they've been taking their revenge, and this month they've acted again, knowing that they'd be captured. They executed their justice to stand against what they consider evil.
That's the truth of X Day.
The room fell into silence. A voice chimed in from the collar.
Vague, hollow laws intended to protect the assailants. A world that continually breeds sorrow, in which only ideals are clear. That is the truth of the nation we live in. Do you continue to reject our ideals, despite knowing this truth? Do you intend to stop our resistance against the evil forces?
I had made up my mind. You must be stopped. You're out of control. Still, you must be stopped. After all, there were people suffering from the guilt of their crimes, like Yanagi. Like Yanagi, there were people who had committed crimes and regretted causing harm. Hurting others for the sake of your own vengeance solves nothing. Rubbing more salt in the wound would only reopen the wounds. I know that my idea of justice, where I try to save everyone that I encounter, is impossible, but that just means it's more important that I stop whatever crimes I can. Whatever the reason, I can't simply ignore people who are committing crimes. I can only help if I stop crimes first. I want to protect Shinjuku. To do that, Adonis' terror must be stopped. What was justice? What was truly right? I didn't know for sure. But the people who lived in this town were truly important to me. And the people by my side were most important of all. I wanted to defend them.
I feel the same way as Hoshino. I want to end this cycle of hatred. Like Akito Sera, there will be others who regret supporting Adonis. I know the pain of inflicting pain upon someone with your own hands more intimately than most. That's why I don't want to let you cause any more sorrow.
He couldn't bear to cause more pain. I agree.
The voice from the collar sounded the most uncertain than I had ever heard it. It was the first time that I had heard the collar voice sound so powerless.
At any rate, Ichika Hoshino, you have moved according to our expectations. No matter your current opinion of us, you possess the beliefs to become our comrade. Next, show us. No, allow me to amend that. Show me that you can reach me.
Reach you, personally?
Precisely. I look forward to it.
With that, the collar fell silent. Finding the owner of that voice. Finally, it felt like we were going to uncover the whole of Adonis.
Adonis will have other pawns besides the ones that have already been arrested. The X-Day crimes are sure to continue.
How am I supposed to find him now, if I haven't been able to find him this whole time? Is it going to give us a little extra clue for that? Yes, HQ is searching for additional suspects based on that same assumption.
We can't be content with detaining them. We need to cut even deeper into Adonis.
Right. It was time to aim at the heart of Adonis. To do that... Suddenly, there was a loud noise outside. Yanagi and I looked up in surprise. I told you not to go in while they were busy. I still think you should stop while you can.
I don't care. I have urgent business here.
Well, still.
Out of my way. Yanagi. Morioka.
Oh, darn it. Okay, actually, we gotta stop this video here before we get into the scene because I'm sure this is gonna take a while, and I really want to find out if, Yanagi has been secretly working with the police this whole time. And this is all some part of a plan. So, I hope to see you in the next episode to find out, or in some of my other videos. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.